And how about now? Let's see if I have audio. Come on, catch up. There we go. Okay. OBS update today. So it apparently lost track of my microphone. Okay. So this is why I do those checks at the beginning of the episode. Excellent. Okay. So today we're going to be doing a couple of things of cleanup. And hey, Ken Evan, actually able to join the live stream. Welcome. So today we're going to do some cleanup. I found a new bug while testing that's going to be a pretty detrimental one. So we want to make sure that we fix that with it was introduced with our entrance stair. So we'll clean that up first. We've got, what else do we have here today? One second. We're going to fix the entrance cell bug that I found. We're going to, I figured out, I was very close on how to get the players to move between the dungeon and back to the what do we call it, the party manager. It's been a week almost since I've logged into this, so I'm trying to remember the names. Game manager, I think that's what it is. And then we're gonna set up the HP setter and tie in some health bars, some stuff, finish up a couple other things, and then the majority of the episodes we're gonna actually start building out our items, our inventory, and building some definitely some items here. I have got this morning before the stream, I was trying to come up with some stuff for items that we can add into the game. So we'll see, where things go. Some of the stuff is going to require us building some new things, which I don't have yet, but we will take a look at that. So first off, let's get over here to the screen. Make sure I go to the right one. There we go. Make sure. Sorry, if I'm a little discombobulated today, my 4-year-old decided that last night was a good time to be up for 6 hours instead of sleeping. So I'm a little overtired today. So here's our project. Let's take a look here. We're at, I thought we were at 53 hours. We're at 56 hours. Okay. We're a little bit further along overall than I thought. So today we're going to, this probably, once we get the players successfully moving between the game manager and the board, we'll be able to check that off. We're going to get the HP setter done today. We're going to get the item resource done. We're going to start building some items, and we'll get a character inventory done. So we're going to have a lot to do today and get through some stuff. So I don't know exactly where we're going to be. We're going to miss the 60-hour playtest target. It happens. I mean, if you've ever listened to any podcast about game development, they always say that everything takes 2 to 3 times as long as you think it's going to. The fact that I'm still pretty close, I'm only 10% off, is pretty good. So let's go over here and actually let's start our timer first. Start timer. There we go. So then we can say we're building. Okay, here we go. Godot. Yeah, see, I haven't launched this since last Friday. Okay, I want to show you the bug that I found first because it's a pretty game-breaking bug. So if we go in here and we go into the town, well, first we're going to fix this today to the overlap. But if we go to, say here, end turn, and then we move our next guy and we end him right here, right next to this entrance tile, we hit end turn. Oh, look what happens. Now we just changed our entrance tile. So we don't want that. And that added, because if you remember back in when we did these explore, we checked the top left tile to make sure that it's a valid floor tile. We've replaced that now with the stairs thing. So now it's not saying that this is valid. So we want to change that, and we'll get that fixed. And then we have our, here we can leave the dungeon. We'll add in a pause. So when that comes up, says, hey, do you want to leave? We don't actually keep walking and all that stuff. So, okay, sip of coffee. See if I can get my head going with caffeine this morning. There we go. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to fix that issue with the entrance tile, because that could very well be a very big game-breaking bug. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into here, and we're going to add in a new helper function called has tile at, yeah, sure. I just call it has tile. I like has tile better. And then we're going to look at the tile. Hold on, let me add a couple interlines here so it doesn't keep trying to scroll and keep it off screen. Let me see if we can make my code a little bit bigger for you. There we go. We're going to do tile origin, and that's going to be a vector 2. We're using 2 eyes because we're using the grid coordinates. And this is going to be a bool. Okay. And then all we need to do is we just need to check to see if there's an actual tile here in the 4x4 grid. So it's going to be pretty easy. So let's just do 4_y in range. And then we're going to use this by tile size, because if you remember here at the top, we kind of built this so in the future, if we want to make something a little bit different, we can change the tile size here to be like an 8x8 or something like that. So avoid our magic numbers this way. So if we do, a Y range of this, and then we're going to do this again, colon. And then we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do _X. So we're going to scan through all of these. And then we can just say if get cell tile data, cell _tile data. There we go. And then we're going to use the tile origin. No, not tile origin. We want to use the X and Y. X, comma, Y. Okay. Oh wait, we need to send this as a vector 2i, like that, right? Okay. And then we say if this does not equal null, then what we can do is we can just return true. And then otherwise we'll return false. Okay. So all this is going to do is it's just going to scan through every single square and make sure one of these squares, one of the 4x4, is not registering as null. And then we're going to say, yes, there is definitely a tile there. So most of the time we're going to hit 0, 0. We're going to, right here, 0, 0. And we're going to say, hey, there's a tile there. Just return true. So in the rare case, like the entrance stairs where we have a value of 5, I forget what we do. Tile library, dungeon entrance, whatever this is. I forget what it is. I think it's 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, spawn special 5. Okay. Script. So because it has a 5, this should still return true. But remember, we're looking at the cell tile data, which should be the floor, which should be 0. So hopefully this should solve our problem. Now we just need to call this. So if we come back up to our match terrain ID, this, I need to change this a little bit, because what we have is we have match ID 2, 3, 4, and 5. What we should do is we should add an underscore so that we can catch anything that's not one of these. And then what we're going to do, if not cells, I like using this. If not, what would we just call our new function? Has cell. No, we don't want to use that yet. We want to use, if not, cells by terrain. Yeah, there we go. Cells by terrain dot has, and then we're going to look at the terrain ID. Oops. Terrain ID. Okay. So if the cells don't have whatever this terrain ID is going to be, and chances are it's going to be like a 0 or a 1, we're just going to add that in here. We're going to do cells by terrain ID equals null. Okay, so we're going to add in that blank array, and then we can get rid of this. Oh, look, I already had that here. I just didn't indent it. Okay, yeah, so we get rid of that. And then this comes into, I believe, right here. Cells by terrain ID, append, and then this will append. Because this says if it doesn't have it, create it, and then we append it. Okay, so then that will give us a terrain ID for our 0s and 1s, our floors and our walls. Okay, I think that is all we need to do for that. So we got that. Let's go over to our game board, and then when we look at our show possibilities, show possibles, here we go. I want to change this around slightly. So right now we have if dungeon tile get cell tile data equals null. What we can change this to is to use our new has tile. So we can get rid of this, but we can call has, shoot, what did we just call that? Tell you, my brain ain't working this morning. Has tile. Okay, that's what we called it. Game board dot has tile. And then we send in the target, right? Has tile target. And then we can just do the same thing here. So all we're going to do is just change this to has tile. That's going to use our new getter function. Oops. Let me do that. There we go. And then right here, has tile. Okay. So that should fix our entrance issue. If I trust my notes I did a week ago when I looked at this. Let's find out. Okay, so let's explore. Let's get down here. We'll end turn. Did we just totally break it? I think we just totally broke it. We did. Okay. So let's, I thought, what did I do wrong? Has tile. Return true. Okay, so let's, oh. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's go back to game board. I realized what I did. We don't want to do equals null. We want to do it, if we can do null, or we could do equals false. There we go. Equals false. Because it's returning a Boolean. It's not returning null. Why is this not? There we go. Clicking problems today. Okay, save that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, we still broke it. Okay, well, let's go through here. Let's go into this. Let's do a print here and just say has tile print tile found. Let's just make sure that we're actually calling this properly. Tile not found. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we move, we hit end here. tile found. Okay, so it's reporting that it found a tile. Okay, so it should not have reported it found a tile. Tile origin plus. So we're looking like right now at the right. Here we go. If local X, tile size -1. Okay, so we're looking to the right. Target is the tile origin, in this case 0, 0, plus 4, 0. So this should send 4, 0. Okay, so if it has tile at 4, 0, come back up here. So 0, so this is 4. Oh, this is tile origin. Okay. Yeah, no, that should be right because we're looking for the new tile. The new tile's origin will be 4, 0. So if we look here. Oh, right, because now we're cycling through 0 to 4. We need to add in, I forgot something. We need to add in we got to add in the tile origin here. So we need to do tile origin plus, because what was happening was it was always going 0 to 4. So it was always scanning the entrance tile. So we don't want that. So if we scan in the origin and then scan the 4 tiles, that should be what we need. Okay, let's try this. Okay, and hey, there we go. Okay, so now if we move to this square and we enter term, we should not get it explore. Okay, perfect. Okay, there we go. We got that. Okay, so that's good. So now let's move on to, let's hit save on this. Let's go back into our game manager so then we can get our party to move back and forth between the different places. Excuse me. So in here, I found 2 bugs when I was poking this on my other machine. One was we were always getting that 1 HP when we added them. That's because we weren't actually adding the node to instantiate it yet, or we instantiated it, but because it wasn't added to the tree, it wasn't doing the ready, it wasn't getting all that stuff. So what we can do is in our initialize party right here, so we add the new member, and then we can just add them to the tree basically. So for a member and base classes, we do var new member. Right here, we can do add child new member. There we go. So then that will add them into the game manager and it'll go through the ready stuff. So it'll set up their HP and everything properly. And then we add them into that. That should be fine. Okay. And then what we want to do is come back down. Let me just double check here. I don't think I had anything for this. This all seems to work. This, when we're transferring the party back from the dungeon, is where we ran into the problem before. And so we have here, for member and party, if member is a player, then we're appending here and we're doing the duplicate. And we don't want to do the duplicate now because we're going to use a parent-unparent method. So if the member is a player, what we want to do, we're going to say if member dot get parent. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to remove it. So we're going to take it away from its parent and we're going to claim ownership of it. So if we do member dot get parent, and then we can do remove child, and then we send the member, MEM. There we go. So then we say, okay, parent, let go of it. Remove the child. So it's going to remove it from whoever owns it. In this case, it'll probably be the game board. So then we can come back here and we can do an add child, and then we can add the member. So then the game manager takes ownership of it. And then we can do the party members, append the member so that we can keep track of it. And that should be the fix for the parent-unparent in terms of the game manager. Now we just have to go back into the game board and we actually have to basically do kind of the same checks here in the game board. So where we have, what we have, like exit dungeon, we had something like that. We had, I think it's actually on the setup. Update active, no. Where'd we set up stack? Nope, that's not it. Hold on. When we first set up the party in here, so let's look at ready. Set up stack. We build all of that. Here we go for character and character list. Okay. Let's see here for character and player list. We're gonna do just before this. We're gonna do another check. So if we do if character dot get to parent. And then we're just going to do the character dot get to parent, get parent dot remove child character. How do I spell character right? CHARACTER. There we go. So then, just in case it's still on the game manager, we'll remove it, unparent it from the game manager, and then we'll add it into the game board. So now what we should have is the characters transferring back and forth successfully when we enter and exit dungeons. So the other thing we can do also now is if we go to our, what do we call that, party container in our town. So remember, if we have our town here, we have this party member. So if we go into here, party container. So here we did the stats.hit points. Well, this shows us what the maximum stats are, but we want to know what our current stats are. So if we do another string here, we do member, member, dot current, curr, current HP. Okay. And then what was it? We do plus quotes around that. Plus. There we go. So then we'll just copy this string. We'll put that here. So now, there we go. So now when we run our game, we will get our current HP, our max HP, and then if anything changes in the dungeon and we come back out, we should see that reflected in this screen. So here we are. We've got 5, 8. Remember before we were only getting 1, so we know that's working. So let's go into our dungeon here. Let's see if we can get some, maybe somebody hurt or something like that. Let's see if we can do something like, oh yeah, here we go. There we go. The priest is now hurt. Okay, so let's move on to the stairs. We'll fix this in a second. And now you can see the priest, 2 out of 5. If we go back into the dungeon, make sure this works. We go through here. I'll just move him there. Whatever, move him over here. Just trying to get to the priest so then we can see. Here we go, priest. Move him where I can see. There we go. So he's got 2 out of 5 hit points. So if we do go back into town, we should still have that. I don't think the barbarian actually took any damage, but go back into town. We still got 2 out of 5. Barbarian did. There we go. So now we have everybody moving back and forth. So excellent. We're doing good there. Okay. Oh, last thing I want to do on this is we said we're going to do a HP setter, and I think setter for our actor here. So let's see. We have current HP right now defaulted to 1. So we're going to I'm going to leave that there for a second. We're going to do, we got max action points here. Let's just do it right after this. This will make the most sense. Let's do var. Let's do a max HP here. That's going to be an int. And then this is going to be we're going to come down here. We'll do a get. If not, and this is just safety measure, if not stats, in case we don't have stats, we can return 1. Okay. Right. Did I do something wrong there? Hey, Bree, how's it going? Let's see here. We did this int : get colon. Okay, yeah, so that should be right. Oh, because not all paths return. Yeah, okay. I get a little worried when I start doing getters and setters because I'm not as well versed with them. So let's do var HP, and then we're going to do our stats dot hit points. There we go. Okay, so we have our base value here, and then we're going to check if buff. Oops, if buff. Oh, I took out the wrong letter. If buff manager. Okay, and then we can do HP plus equals buff manager dot get, what do we call it? Get stat modifier. There we go. And the stat modifier we're looking for here is max HP. Okay. And then we can return the maximum of HP, comma 1, just because we always want to have at least 1. And there might be something like in here, if someone sets a value of max HP as like -8 or something like that, you know, they get cursed or something along those lines. We want to make sure we always return back at least 1 value. Okay, so that gives us our maximum HP. Now I want to change this. I'm just going to cut this out from right here. I'm going to put it down here because we're also going to do a setter for our current HP. And then so every time that this changes, we're going to do some extra functionality code. So we need to do things like alert the UI that the portrait health bar, stuff like that needs to change, that, you know, we may need to check for an on death indicator, especially when we start adding in the healing surges and stuff like that for a downed player. We're going to need all that stuff to get signaled. So we do this. We come down here, we do a set value. Okay. And then from down here, we can do a var old HP. So we keep track of what it is before we start. Oops, current HP. Okay. So we keep track of the old, and then we can change the current HP. And that's going to equal, we're going to clamp that because we never want to go below 0. But we want to start value, comma 0, comma max HP. Okay. So we're going to send it in the value that we're trying to set. Make sure it's always between 0 and max. And this is why, like, I like to keep the logic up here. Technically, you can have this below this, but I like to say, hey, let's set the max HP first. Okay, so we got that, and then we can say if current HP, and this I'm doing because I found when I was testing with the traps, if we killed, say, the rogue, just decide, or the priest, he has lower hit points. If he walked over all 4 traps, there's a good chance that he took enough damage to kill him. But because we were only checking for death in combat, it was just letting him keep walking around. So until he got hit in combat, he never would have died. He would have essentially been invulnerable. So we want to make sure we don't have that happen. So if we're less than or equal to 0, which we shouldn't be because we were clamping it to 0, but just to be safe, less than or equal to 0, and old HP was greater than 0. We want to make sure that, you know, we had hit points before we started. And then we're going to call a function called on 0 HP. Okay, and then we'll write that in a second. Okay, and then right here, we'll do a function on 0 HP. And then that's going to not return anything. We're just going to, right by default, we're going to call die. Because remember, this is on the actor class, so this is the monsters get it and the heroes get it. So by default, we're going to call a die function because that's what monsters and things are going to execute. We can override that in the player script, so then the player will have like a down state before they go directly into die. So function die, and that's going to return nothing again. And then right now we're just going to do die.emit. Oops, dot emit. And then we're just going to signal that we died, which also means that we need a signal up here. Signal died. I will fix that in a second. We need, and it's going to send an actor. SIGNAL. There we go. So then if we died, it's going to emit the died signal, and then we can connect into that where we need it to say, oh, if it's died, remove the actor. So we'll connect that into the game board here in a second. And then we need to do one more thing is down here in our ready function. We have current hit points equals this. We're going to do current hit points equals max hit points. And remember, every time we call max, it's going to go and run this getter function. It's going to go through, it's going to check the buff manager, it's going to check our stats file, all that stuff, calculate it, and say this is what our max is. And then when we go through all this, it's going to, you know, cycle all that whenever we set it. So remember, get is going to execute all the code when we call the value. A setter is going to change, or it's going to run all that code when the value changes. So, okay, so we got that. We need to, there's one other place, two other places actually. Let's go back to our town. Let me save this here. The town script, the party. Okay, so here, instead of member.stats.hitpoints, now we can just call, you know, max hit points, max HP. And let's use our little quick shortcut here. I'm still getting used to this new mouse. It feels a little sensitive compared to my old one. Okay, so now it will pull the actual max HP when we look at the town. We also want to change our, do we have it up here? Yeah, health bar. Okay, so then our health bar, we're going to connect into all that stuff. So we can get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. So we can get rid of the entire, no, not this. We need to get rid of, we have the get parent. We're going to do it as actor just to make sure we typecast it. It sounds really funny when you say it that way, typecast. We can say if parent, make sure there is a parent. And then we can say safety. You know, when we connect signals, we probably want to make sure that they're not connected so we don't get those error messages over and over again saying, hey, you know, this stuff's already connected. Like, I think, yeah, right here. Like, look, we've already got these connected. That's going to be fixed. That's the next thing on my list to fix after, or it's on my list to fix today. So we'll get this one fixed and get that one taken care of. So we're basically going to do the same thing here with this signal. So we're going to say, if not, I've already forgot what I was doing. We're connecting to the, if not parent, if not get parent. I have to go, but I'll catch the video on demand. I'm glad I was able to come say hi. Good luck. Thanks, Ken Evan. Always good to have you commenting on the stream, and I look forward to, I'm going to have a whole bunch of items up here, so any feedback of new items and stuff like that that you can think of you want to add, feel free to, you know, shoot me a message, and I'm definitely going to need more because right now I've only got about 30 items, and I'm going to need a lot more than that, especially if our level's all based on items. So, but nice to have you stop by, so glad to see you around. Okay, so let's see here. If not get parent HP. Oh, did I forget to add in a signal? I did. Let's go back to our actor. I just realized I wanted to add another signal in here. So we have died. We want to do HP changed signal. Okay. And then in this, I want to do the current HP, which is just going to be an int. And then the other we want to do is the max HP, which is also an int. I'm just going to put them in here just so I know what they are. Current HP, and then max HP. There we go. So I'll just do it that way just so I can remember what they are. Let's go back into our health bar. So if not get parent dot HP, I just typed it. How did I forget it? HP changed. There we go. HP change dot is connected. And then this is going to be connected into Oh, let's see. What name should we give this? Oh, I forgot what I want to call it now. Update health bar. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's right there. Update health bar. What am I doing? Yeah. We already have it. There we go. If it's not connected, and then we can just connect it. Dot connect. There. Okay. So if we're not connected, we will connect the HP change signal to update the health bar. So that means we don't need the physics process anymore. This is going to save us a lot of CPU cycles. So every 60 times a second, we were updating that health bar for every character. Now we're only going to update the health bar for the character if it changes, if there's a HP change. I think that is... Oh, we need to do one more thing. In Ready, we actually need to call the initial setup of the health bar. So let's do that. Update health bar, and we need to send in the current HP. So if we do it as parent dot current, wow, comma parent dot max. I just realized as I was typing this, I don't need get parent here. I can just do parent, because we've already assigned it right here. We have parent as a get parent. So that's all set. Okay. Does not equal max health visible equals. Oh, that's right, because we're going to hide it here. Do you want to hide it? Yeah, let's hide the health bar unless the two values don't match. Okay. I think we did that. We updated the party screen. I think that's going to fix this. So let's take a look here. So we got all this. Let's explore. We have nothing here. Okay. We walk down. We get, okay. He did not get hurt. I don't think he did. Let's just double check. Actors, barbarian. He's still at, no, he's at 5. So he did get hurt. Why did he not? Oh, you know, I added in the signal. We're not calling it anywhere. So in our current HP, we need to send the HP signal changed dot emit, and then we are sending the current HP and the max HP. There we go. Okay. Wow. You know, sometimes it's just funny when you forget things. Boom. Yep. See, now he got hurt. Now he has the health bar. Okay. Cool. So that works. Oh, let's just double check, make sure that when we go back to town, that all updates properly. So we come down here. He did not get hurt, apparently. Let's just double check that. Barbarian. Nope, he is fine. Okay, so we end his turn. Let's move the rogue, or the priest. Priest. Okay, so the priest died, but we don't have the death function doing anything yet. So we will come back and deal with that. But let's see here. Let's do end turn for him. And let's move on to the stairs. Yes. Okay, so the priest is dead. And that all looks like it updated properly. And again, we're here. Oh, look, we have a slight problem. Okay. That's going to be one we'll come back to. Yep, and I can already see the priest bar is there. Okay. So it was still saving. So what we should probably do is when we get... Let's go back into our game manager. Game manager. Here we go. So when we transfer the party to the game manager, we add the child here. Let's do member dot global position equals vector 2.0. There we go. So then that should reset. So that should stop that from happening. Let's just make sure. So if we come down here, we take our rogue, have them move down through here, all these, okay? And then if we go back to town, leave town, we come back in, that should not set off that trap now because we moved them in the game manager to a new start location. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Okay, quickly fix that bug. That's awesome. Now let's do the one last thing. Let's get them to spread out in the dungeon when they come back down in. So if we come back up to our game board, game board, there we go, game board. Okay, let's create a new variable right here, variable. Let's call this spawn positions, spawn positions, okay? And then that's going to be an array of vector to I. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to equal that to, we're going to start with 0, 0. Wait, how do I do this again? I want to do a vector to I. So we'll do this. And then we do a vector to I, 0, 0, and then comma here. Okay. Okay. We want to actually start because remember 0, 0 is our top left. That's going to be where our stairs are. So let's go 2 to the right. So we'll start 0, 1. So we'll start 2, 0. And then 3, 0. And then 2, 3. And then these will be Y1. Okay. So we'll delete that. Okay. Array. Oh, whoops. This is supposed to be an array of. There we go. Vector to I. Okay. And then we're also going to need a spawn index, and that's going to be an integer. We're going to set that as 0 to start with. Okay. So then when we add in our characters right here, where did we put our target? Target. Here we go. Target. Our target's going to equal our spawn positions and the spawn index. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to take the spawn index at the end here and do a plus equals 1. Okay. I think that's all we need. Oh, no, wait. Do we need character global positions, dungeon tile map to local target? That should be fine. We're setting the current cell to the target. Yeah, I think that should be it. That should, I believe, get us to spread out when we come into the dungeon. Hey! I was thinking last week when I put these notes together. Ooh, that's awesome. Okay. Okay, so we got that. We're just rocking through all this stuff. Yeah, past James was did a good job. Okay, so let's do one other thing. Let's do the stairs. Let's make it pause so when we step on the stairs, when we get that pop up, it says, "Hey, press yes to leave or no to stay." Prompt the exit here. Let's do if it's not yes dot pressed dot is connected. Okay, and then we'll do a confirm exit. Then we'll do yes dot pressed dot connect confirm. Wow, I was rolling so good, and then my brain just went nope, not gonna happen. Okay, so if yes.press.connect is not connected, then we'll connect it. We'll do the same thing here. If not, no.press is connected, hide prompt, and then we'll just do that right there. Okay, so this should make it so if we step on the stairs, it should instantly pause our walking. Nope, it did not. Why did it not pause? What did I forget? I forgot something here. I need to pause the game. So right here, with this comes up, we do all this. Oh, we need to do get tree dot paused, paused equals true. I gotta remember to pause the game. And if we confirm the exit, back to town emit, then we can do paused equals false here. If we hide the prompt, we disconnect the signal and we say paused equals false. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we're going to need to do one more thing. We need to make sure that this script, where is our stairs? STA. Stairs up. Here we go. Need to make sure that this is set for always, because if it's not, then when we prompt it and the game gets paused, it's not going to let us interact with it. We'll want to do the same thing for stairs down. Process always. Okay, let's try this. Move on to the stairs. Well, the game paused, but the animation didn't. Okay. Oh, I guess we don't have to do, you know what? Let's put that right here. Boom. Let's try that again. Okay. Move on here. Yes. Okay, so that worked. Okay. Now we can't go back and explore, probably because I bet you our game is paused. Where can we see that over here? Can we see? I guess we can't. I thought we could. Because I believe our game is still paused. So when we went back to town, we say paused equals false. Why was our animation still running? Did we do something where we required our animation player to keep going? We did always on this. Why did we do always? I'm going to have to go back and double check that. Why did we set the animation player to always play? Anyway, so on stairs up, okay, we hit this box, we show it, we connect the signals, we pause the game, okay, and then we select either yes or no. Yes, no. This one seems to be working, so let me just double check that. We explore, we move on to here, we hit no, finishes the movement, okay. Goes here, okay, we move onto here, we leave, we hit yes. But that does not seem to. Can we do a get? Oh, let's try this. Let's try a get tree dot physics frame. Yeah, let's just await a physics frame. Let's see if that fixes that. So we explore. We move on to here. Hit yes. Why is our explorer not working? Let's look at town process mode. With if I put this to always, yeah, okay, so it's still It's still paused. It is still paused. So when we confirm the exit, we unpause it. Get tree.paused equals false. So we unpause the game, but it's changing. The game manager is changing it back. We could just let's take this out here. Take this and let's go to our game manager. Game manager. Let's go transfer. So when we go back to town, we're ready. Here we go. Back to town. Head to town. Head to town. Here we go. Transfer the party. Change file. There we go. Let's see if this works. Explore. Move on to the stairs. Yes. Explore. Okay. Hey, we're still running for some reason. Okay. So we should probably. Yeah, I want to go back and figure out exactly why we did that with the animation player. I feel like it's probably because we were pausing something and we wanted the animation to still play. But I'm gonna have to go back and double check that because that seems very odd. Is it just the rogue or did we do that for everybody? Let's just double check. Wizard scene animation player. Okay, so I think we only did it to the rogue for some reason. Okay, so let's go back to the rogue and let's just set him back to inherit. Make sure nothing breaks here. Explore. Sure, and turn, and turn, and turn. Rogue. Okay, so if we do like mobility, move. Okay, that seems fine. And shurikens. Okay, throw a bomb. You can't target anybody. Okay, let's move back to the stairs. Leave, yes. Okay, if we come back to explore, he's still in the run state and he's still in the move state. Okay, so let's add that into a future thing. So I do want to get into building items today. So let's go back over to our Kanban board here and let's add card, and we'll put it under bugs here. Reset player status when entering town. There we go. And then, idle animations, etc. Okay. So we'll save that so we'll know that we have to come back and do that. Okay. So this is all done. We built the exit condition. We added the HP setter. We have not done that. This is again the one I'm kicking down the road just because I've got I've got movement and everything running, and I'm just worried I'm going to break things when I add that in. Let's move on to let's start building our. Is there anything else I want to do before I do? Oh, you know what? Let's do one more thing. Let's go back over here. Let's take a look at our. Here we go. Where's our player? Player. Here we go. So right now we have all this stuff. Do we have any ready? Process input is false. That's fine. Super on the actor. Okay. So then on die, we do died emit. What do we do on combat manager when the character dies? Oh, play animation. Here we go. Await unregister actor. Okay, so that's what we need to do here. So if we, oops, I didn't want to cut it. I just want to copy it. Copy. Okay, so then if we come back into here, died emit. Oh, actually, do we do in Combat Manager, when we register the character, we can attach that signal. Register actor. Here we go. Actor. If they have the signal turn completed, we do actor dot died dot connect, and then we can just do the unregister actor, and then because it emits itself, so then we can do the unregister actor here, and then that. So if the character dies, play the animation. Yeah, we'll let's just copy this. How do I want to do this nicely? Because right now, what this will happen is if we step on a trap and we die, it's just going to go bloop and just going to take the actor right away. We still kind of want to have it do the animation player and all that stuff. So this needs to be. Because we still want this to happen in combat because we don't want to advance the combat until the death animation's done. So maybe this. You know what? I'm just going to leave that right now as the unregistered actor. Oh, that's going to cause problems with this because it's going to unregister them before it does all this stuff. We don't want that. Yeah, I'm just gonna comment that out for right now. I'm gonna have to think about that one because what's probably gonna need to be done is we need to refactor the combat to pull that stuff out into its own function for the actor, but then we also need to await the actors died. Well, actually, if we just do that, if we just pull it out and put it in died, and then we just await actor dot died, that might work actually. So if we get all this, boom, that's the hit. That's fine. We don't need to worry about that. This is if they died right here. So we won't need this because the died will take place and overwrite this. Yeah, no, I'm going to come back to it because again, with our getters and setters, as soon as we change the current hit points, so right here, that's going to trigger the died subroutine or function. I mean, sorry, not subroutine. Same idea, different. That's going to trigger that on the actor class. So as soon as we take this damage, it's going to trigger the die. And right now, I don't think on die we just have, it's just emitting itself. Yeah, let me rethink that. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that because it's already an hour into the stream and I've got a couple other things I need to do today. So I want to get to building items. Okay, so we got that. We did the spread out in the dungeon. We added the pause to the stairs. I wanted to fill out the roster of missing classes, but I want to get back to that died thing first before I do that. Temple healing to town. Oh, you know what? Let's do that. That should be pretty easy. So if we go back to our town, boom, 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 and we have this rest button. Oops, didn't want to zoom in. There we go, town, and we have where is our, this is the party container. Okay, we don't need that, need this. Okay, let's rename these so then we can know what they are. Rest button. This is going to be the shop button. This is going to be the equip, EQU, IP button. And this is, we already called this the explore button, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's go back up here. We get explore. Might as well just grab all these and bring them in because we will use them eventually. Oops. Yeah, we don't need 2 copies of the explore button. Oh, I forgot to bring in the rest button. That's what I did wrong. Okay. Rest button. There we go. Okay. So let's add in our rest button dot pressed connect. And then that is going to do heal party. Okay. So then we'll grab this. We'll do a function heal party. And then we're going to do for player, or let's do for character in game manager dot, what do we call it again? Party members. And then what we can do is character dot current HP equals character dot max HP. Okay. And then that should equal that. Do we need to then do over here on our party container? Okay, so we're doing this. We need to then connect into this so we run this again. Okay, so let's cut this actually, and we'll just call update roster. Okay, and let's do a function update roster. Okay, and then we do that, and then we can do a signal of town. Signal rest. Okay, we'll just do that. We'll just save ourselves a little time. We'll make this a unique name. Oh, right, because it's not a sub thing. It has to be one of these to get the unique name. Okay. Well, that's fine. Whatever. Come back into our party container. We'll do this. We'll just get town. You know what? Let's connect this up here. Let's do town dot rest. Oh, you know what? We don't even need to do that, do we? Yeah, no, we'll do that. Town.rest.connect. And then we'll send it to update roster. Okay. Okay, so we got that. So let's go back into our town. And then when we do the heal of the party, we can just do rest.emit. Okay. So now if we go into our dungeon, we move the priest down here and he gets wicked bad hurt. And then we go, oh, okay, we got to go back to town. Let's rest. There we go. And now we come back in and he's fully healed. Oh, you know what we need to do in the health bar? Health bar. Then here we can just do an else visible equals false. Because once we turned it on, we never actually set it to false again. Okay, so we just do that. Okay, and then is his animation also set to run at all times? Nope. Oh, right. We made the bug thing to reset ourselves to make sure that we reset the animation and all that stuff. So that's on our to-do list. Okay. moving on. So we got the healing. I still have to do the fill out the roster. If we lose, lose the priest or whatever, we have to refill it with the next piece of dungeon fodder in line. So next, let's go ahead. Let's close all this stuff. Close all this. Close all this. Okay. Let's go ahead and just close all of this. We're going to start building our items. So let's go ahead and let's close down our trees, core components, tiles. Here we go. Okay, so let's create a new folder and call it items. Items. Here we go. Create a new resource or script because we need to define item. Let's use item data. Oops. Data. There we go. Item data. Again, that should just be a. Let's extend a resource. Okay. Create. Okay. Class name. Item data. I saw something the other day on. Oh God, who was it now? I don't think it was GMTK. It may have been Games from Scratch. I don't remember exactly which YouTube channel, but they had a script that they have set up so they can run that will change all of the naming to fit the Godot's best practice naming stuff. So, what's Pascal case, what's snake case, all that stuff. I feel like I'm going to go back and steal that because I want that to clean up my code. I try to keep things semi-coherent, but sometimes it's I get a little distracted and use the wrong things. Okay, so let's see, what do we need here? We need a whole bunch of these exports. Export var. Let me just kind of copy that because I'm going to use that again a lot. Item name. That's going to be a string. What else do we need? We need an icon for it. That's going to be a texture. texture, texture 2D. What else we need? We did that. Let's do an item type. And that's going to be, let's use enum. There we go, enum. And then that's going to be let's do weapon. Let's do accessory. Weapon, accessory, consumable. I think that's going to be the 3 types of items we're going to have. Yeah. Expected end statement, found enum instead. Oh, right, because this goes here, I believe. Right? You know what? Let's just put the enum up here. Enum type. Okay. Item type. That's going to be type. And then by default, we're just going to do type.consumable. Okay. That'll be our default. Let's see, what else do we need? We need an item type. We need what else we need? We need, I want to restrict some things just to make it easier. So let's do a allowed classes class. Do we want to do classes? We might have some stuff that might be class cross class. So let's do allowed classes. And that's going to be we'll keep that as an array of that's going to be another enum classes. We'll just call it class. So we've got priest, we've got barbarian, rogue, and wizard. Okay. So that's going to be an array of class. By default, that's going to be equal to nothing. We need export var. We need stat modifiers. modifier stat modifiers. That's going to be a dictionary. And by default, that's going to be blank. Whoops, blank. And we're going to need a script. So let's to do anything special. So things like healing potions and stuff like that. Let's see. How do we want to do this? Uh, I've been consuming a lot of other things lately about like abstract classes and versus virtual functions and all that. Interfaces has been a common refrain that I've seen, especially come up in my 90-second game dev videos. Godot doesn't have interfaces, but I'm slowly starting to understand exactly why people want them so much. And they make sense when you can inherit just small little bits, because the only way to do that really in Godot is add it as a component, but then the main thing has to have a reference to that component somehow. So, I guess you can make a sub component that's called components and then add all the components there and create an array. Yeah. Anyway. Um, yeah, so let's do a function use. Okay. That's going to be, actually, let's make that a bool. Okay. Return, we'll just return false by default. Okay. And then we'll define that in each item with whatever it needs to have. So I think that's all we need to define our item. Loud classes that might have a use. So anything that's going to be static, like a weapon, this is going to not have anything. So everything's just going to be a straight resource. We'll define all this stuff. And then if it's going to be a consumable, then we can use the use. I don't know if there's going to be... I'm trying to think here. We might have some items that do special effects. We might make a separate... maybe what we do is we take these accessory, weapon, accessory, consumable, split them out into another class, inherit. Ugh. Okay, yeah, interfaces would be nice, I guess. Okay, so we got that. This is our item data. So now we can start building some items. But before we do that, we need inventory. We need an inventory for our characters. So that's just going to be an array. Do I want to just do an array, or do we want to do slot inference? We're going to want to do an array of slot data because the slots are going to be defined. We're going to have a weapon slot, an accessory slot, and a like probably 2 pouch slotches. Slotches? Did I just say slotches? Yeah, slots. Okay, so let's do that. Do we want to do it under character core components? Do I have an inventory? I don't. Let's do a create new folder. Let's do an inventory. INVENTORY. Okay. So let's go into our inventory, create a new, and let's do a script. Oh, do we want this to be a resource? What do we want this to be? You know what? Let's make this a scene. I think if we make this a scene, then we can actually pull that scene in to our UI for the slot. So we're going to call it an inventory slot. Actually, you know what? Let's, instead of that, let's just make a new scene. And we're going to call it NVN inventory slot. That's going to be, we're going to make that just a standard control. Okay. We're going to attach an inventory slot to it. Okay. Class name, inventory slot. Okay. This, we're going to need an export var of item. And that's going to be of item data. Okay. Okay. And then what we need, let's see here. So we have our inventory slot here. Let's set it to be, all of our tiles here are 8x8. Our UI, I don't know what our UI resolution is going to be. just trying to think here. You know, maybe we do 16 by 16 to start with. Do that. Set this 16 by 16. Okay. Fill. We don't. That's fine. And then in the, oh, you know what? Do we want this to be an inventory slot, or do we want this to be a button? Ooh. We may want this to be a button because we're going to want it to be clickable. Let's make it, let's change it. Let's change the type. Let's change it to a button. Okay. And we'll update our script. Button. Okay, so this is going to be a button now. Okay, so we have a 16 by 16 button. Okay, in here, we're going to add in a texture rect. This is going to be expand mode. No, we're going to make sure it scales properly. It's going to be, nope, we don't want to change any of that. Definitely don't want it to be 40 by 40. Okay, scale. You know what we need? Let's add in, what do we have in here? Do we have any items to start with yet? We have skill icons that are 16 by 16. Let's use one of those for right now. So if we come down here, let's go to our, we'll come back to that, skill icons. Let's go to our items, create new resource. This is going to extend an item data. Okay, and then let's call it, I don't know, let's just call it a dagger. That's fine. We'll call it a dagger for right now. Okay, so we come in here, we call it a dagger. Let's give it an icon. Let's find our skill icons there. Here we go. Let's make this a text atlas. Put this in here. We'll edit our region. Let's see what looks like. Well, I guess it's twin daggers, but okay. We'll use those. Okay. I'll have to find some actual texture icons here. 16 by 16. There we go. Close. Okay. So there's our texture, our daggers. It's going to be a weapon. Our element is going to be, it's going to be allowed by our rogue. Stat modifiers. Okay, let's do edit the key string. And then that is going to be attack dice. I think we should probably make these what's the word I'm looking for? Enums, so to make sure that we keep our values the same. But either way, we now have daggers. Okay, so let's go back in here. Let's set up our item data. We're going to do a quick load. Oop, that's the wrong thing. You need to do a quick load right here. Set up our dagger. Okay, so we have this. This is all set up here. So this, and then we do a function. Ready. We're going to do a texture. We need to reference the texture rect. Here we go. Boom. Texture rect dot. What do we call it? Is it just called texture? Yeah, texture equals item dot icon. Okay. So if we come back here and let me think. How can we? If we just save this, close it, and reopen it, that should do it. Okay, boom, F. Oh, right, it's not going to do it because we're doing. Yeah. Need to be, that would need to be a tool script to get to do that. But either way, we can just do this. We can copy this right now. Copy that. We'll put it over here. Paste. Okay. And then this needs to fill There we go. Boom. Okay, so now we have our inventory button here. And do we have an option for layout? Do we have a clip contents? We do, but it doesn't round it. Thought we had a rounding. Either way, I'm not worried about it right now. Okay. Okay, so we have our inventory slot, which extends the item data. Here's our texture rec for it. It's going to be a button, so then we need a function pressed, right? That's going to be a bool. For right now, return false. We need pressed.connect. And that's going to go to our underscore pressed. Okay. The function signature doesn't match the parent because we're extending a button. Press.connect, pressed. Oh, this needs to be a void. Okay. Okay, so I can't use because this is a signal. Okay, so we got that. We got the pressed. Let's see here. So that's going to give us that usability. So we have an inventory slot. And now what we need to do is let's bring up, let's bring up our rogue. He's our favorite test candidate here. Let's give him a node. Do I want to do it that way? Do I want to make it a node? I'm going to do it this way. I haven't done it this way before, but let's try it. Helps if I spell inventory right. INVENTORY. Right. There we go. Inventory. Okay. We're going to check, attach a script to it. I'm going to make this inventory script, though, universal. Components, inventory, create. Okay. Class, name, inventory. Okay. Export var. Oh, you know what? I just remembered we forgot to do. I will do that 1 second here. Export var inventory or slots. And that's going to be inventory or an array of inventory. INVENTORY. Inventory slot. Okay. We need to come back here to the inventory slot because we wanted the, we're going to take this right here, consume inventory slot data, boom. And then what we need to do is the slot, we need to export I'm going to call this slot type. That's going to be of type. And by default, again, we're going to make it type dot consumable. Okay. So by default, it's going to be of type consumable. We don't have the check in here yet, but we can add that check in afterwards. Just to make sure that this item data matches the type so we don't accidentally load it into the wrong slot. So in here, though, we're going to make an array of inventory slots. And by default, that array is going to be 4. So let's do, I'm just trying to think through, I'm trying to future-proof myself here. Function underscore ready. Oh, you know what? Actually, we don't need to do that because we can, by default, create a new one. We can do, no, we'll just do this here. Function, we'll do that and we'll do a, Just trying to think how I want to do that. Oh, because we're adding it right to the character as a separate item, I can just save it like this. We can go over to the rogue right here. We can add in our 4 slots. And then here, wait a minute, what did I do wrong here? It's an array of inventory slot. Oh, so did we make, oh, because we made inventory slot a scene. Inventory slot, here we go. Okay, so if we come back to the rogue, we can just do this. We can just do it this way. Okay. So this one, we can make it, this will be our weapon slot. So, we can even rename these. This will be our accessory slot. This will be consumable. This will be consumable. So in this case, like this will be clear. This one will be clear. Whoops. Clear, clear, and clear. Okay. So by default, we have this. We have each of these inventory slots. And this, I guess we can just assign. So this is our weapon slot. There we go. Boom. Okay. So now we have our inventory. We have the set slots. We should probably add in making sure that these slots are only available to the right item. So when we put in an item, so let's create a new function. Function populate slot. We're going to send in an item. Okay. I don't think we need to do I don't know if I want to do a bool or not. Nah, we'll just do this. And then so what we need to do is we need to do if item dot, what do we call it here? Item item dot item type. If item dot item type equals slot type, right? And then we can populate the item. So then we can set up this stuff right here. We do that. Okay. And then here we can do populate slot, and then we can send in whatever the item is. Okay. So populate the slot, it'll validate it and make sure that it's there. Else, what we want to do is we want to make sure we'll just set the item to null. Okay. So then if it's not the right type, we'll just set the item to null. Actually, this should probably be a bool, because what we want to do is we want to say return true, and this will be a return false. Okay, because then what it's going to do is if someone tries to put something in the wrong slot, we want to kick it back and say, hey, you can't do that. That doesn't belong here. And then this doesn't care if it's a Boolean or not. We can do an await or whatever, but I mean, it doesn't care what gets returned here because we're not assigning it to anything. So this way, if we did this, our rogue should be fine with daggers because those are a weapon type. But if I tried to put daggers in this slot, so if I do a quick load dagger here, when we run the game, the rogue's second inventory slot should be empty. Let's see here. Okay, so this. Oh, right, because we're using enum, so we need to do. Oh, no. What's happening here is because these slots don't have anything. So if item populate slot. Okay, let's do that. There we go. So now if I come over here, we look at our rogue. Where's our rogue? Rogue. Here we go. Remote. We look at his inventory. Yeah, inventory slot 1. This has a, what's it called? The daggers in it. Slot 2. Slot 2 has daggers in it. Why does slot 2 have daggers in it? That should not have daggers in it. Okay, so why did that happen? We're populating the slot. Oh, I know why. Because I'm an idiot. We can go back into our base scene here. Reset this. Make this all empty. Make this empty. Okay. So our inventory slots can be empty by default. Okay. So now if we do this, then our rogue should be empty for the second slot. Inventory, boom. It says there's slot, there's no item. There is a texture rec, it says, but I don't know what that is. Probably just a null texture rect, because it's not the same one as the. See, this one's different. 6160. This one is 2245. So it's definitely a different one, but it says empty right here, so we know it's empty. Okay, so then that works there. Actually, this one probably has. That's all empty, but either way, that works. This has. Oh, this is the texture rec of the button. Nope, this is texture rec that we're supposed to be populating. What did we do? Hold on. F8. So if I run this, okay. Why is this? What did I do wrong? Good question. Let's find out. Why does this not have a weapon? Oh, I know why. I know why. Okay. Rogue. Boom, boom, boom. Weapon dagger. Okay. Save this. Boom. Boom. Okay. So when I look at this, when I run this scene. Okay. So here we go. We got remote. We got the rogue. We got the inventory. Okay. Here we go. We turn this off, turn this off, turn that off. Okay. So this slot has the dagger. Slot 2, if we turn this off and turn this on, I need to, you know what, I need to do one other thing. Inventory slot, let's go here. Let's make this theme overrides styles. Let's make this empty. There we go. So then we don't get all that color overlapping here. Okay. So if I turn off these slots, boom. Why is this still showing? That's turned off. Oh, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Oh, you know what we could do? Instead of doing the texture rect, we could just use the icon and make the icon fill the whole space. Let's do that. Let's get rid of the texture rec here. Boom. let's do this. Let's do where we put text direct, we'll change that right there. And then this will just become icon. I just messed up because I had the space in here. I didn't want to do that. There we go. Icon equals item to icon. Okay. So that will just make our buttons. Okay. Okay. So we got that. That will make our buttons that way. So I do this. There we go. Button. Turn off that button. Oh, wait. Where's our texture here? Texture. We need to make sure it's unique. Where's the local? Oops, over here. Do we not have a local to scene? Okay. So if we save this, let's go back here. I'm just going to delete all these for right now. Delete. Okay. Just trying to figure out what's going on here. So if I come down here, turn this off. Why is there still a text direct appearing there? Let's take a look at our inventory. Inventory. It's just an array of slot data. Oh, am I doing no, because this is just assigning these slots. Okay, let's not do it this way then. Let's just do let's go back into our player class. Let's do an export 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 var inventory. That's going to be an array of Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. Because I need to track the item data. I don't need to actually make the scene, because then the scene is going to be attached to the character, and I don't want a scene attached to the character. I just want the inventory slot. So let's not make the slot a scene. An array of inventory slots. And by default, that's going to be equal to that. Okay. So let's go back in here. Let's change this. Change. You know, I just did something like this. Hold on. Let me pull up my GitHub. Idea testing. Let's pull this in. I just did an inventory the other day, and now I'm getting myself all confused. Okay, so let's see here. Let's close out all of this. Inventory. Yes, this is my old attempt at all this. Close all. Okay. Let's see here. Add-ons, tiles. Where's inventory system? Here we go. Let's bring up. Okay, let's take a look here at this, and let's see what I did. Okay, so we inventory slot is just going to extend a button. This works if it's on screen. Inventory itself is just an array of items. Okay, so let's just steal this. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so let's go back over here to our inventory. Class name inventory, that's fine. We're going to extend a resource instead of a node. Okay, export var array of items, and that's going to be of item data. Okay, add item, that's going to be item data. Item data. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's do it that way. We'll come back. I'm just going to close this for right now. Close that. Inventory is going to be right here. We called it inventory, so let's just do that. Inventory. And that is class name. Going to extend the resource. Let's do an export. Export var inventory. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so then over here on the rogue, minimize all this. We have an inventory. We'll add a new one. We'll add 4 elements. We're going to add in item data, quick load. We'll add in the daggers. Boom. There we go. Okay. So then our item, we have add item, we have remove item. That'll just be added into their actual 4 item inventory. Let's just, we can go back here and double check this stuff in a second. Okay. So then that will give us that. Let's see here. So that gives us a way to add items and remove items into the character. So we have like example here for the rogue. Boom. Rogue. Where's player? I want player. Here we go. Player. So we have the inventory. So if we call player, rogue.inventory.add, we can add the item and then I'll add it into the items array. So if we call inventory, we have to remember when we call inventory, we need to call inventory.items. Okay. So then what we need to do, what was I doing before I got so distracted on this? We have the items. We built the inventory. When we do the UI, we need to assign that stuff. We need to have a way to equip an item for the character. Okay, so let's go back into the player. Have an inventory. Let's make this specific for this. So we can, here's a question. We want them to probably be able to carry extra items. So if they find like, 2 staves, they're going to carry them back to town so they can sell them. We don't want to restrict it. We only want to restrict what gets equipped. Okay. So let me think about this. That is a good question. Ugh. Oh, you know what? I forgot an item data thing that's very important, or is going to be very important. We need item type, allowed classes, stat modifier. Let's do it right here. Export var item level, because remember the item level is going to be how we define our power level for our characters. So forgot about the item level. Okay, so we got that. Dagger. Oh, we added the base attack dice. So base attack here is 1. If we equip an item, so if we go back into our player, so we can have an inventory for the player. So we did consumables. I feel like now I'm kicking myself for not thinking this through better. Because what I'm thinking, let me pull this up over here. Let's do So if we go, here we go. So like if I bring this up, oops, no, I don't want YouTube. I just wanted the picture. Here we go. Open image, a new tab. Maybe, maybe not. No, I don't want to play. I just wanted the image. There we go. Okay. I'll close this. So this basically, they have their powers and then the inventory, but you only equip in between sessions. And that's kind of what I was thinking of with this, because we have the equip screen in town that you're only going to be able to change what's equipped in between sessions, but then the inventory here is your consumables. So I'm thinking we have it hard set for what's equipped, because then everything is already calculated. So if we do that, we need an equipped array of inventory, and then we need the actual inventory of what everybody's carrying. So yeah, we can just statically define in the character. Instead of doing an array, we can just statically assign weapon and accessory, because we'll just change them out between missions. So if we statically assign those in the player, we should be good. Okay, let's do that. So let's go back into our player here. Let's do export var, and then we're going to do equipped weapon. Okay, and then we'll do equipped accessory. Okay, and then these are going to be item data. Okay, so those are going to be hard set. Okay, so we save that here. So now if I go back into the rogue, let's clear out his inventory here. Set nothing in there, that's fine. But if we go into his equipped weapon, here we go. We do the dagger, save that. Okay, so now he's got an equipped weapon. The other guys don't. But what we need to do is when we do that attack dice calculation in the player, then we need to figure out, is there any item equipped? So let's go back over here. I think I'm doing that. Am I doing that in the actor? I think I might be doing that in the actor. Actor. Get attack dice. Here we go. If buff manager. Okay. Do we want to do if inventory? No, if equipped weapon. Then we can do this. Dice plus equals equipped weapon. Equipped weapon dot what did we call it? Stat modifier, or what did we call that in the inventory? We called it stat modifiers. Dot stat modifiers attack dice. Right? Dot stat modifier, and this is because this is a dot value. Is that what we do? Oh, right. We can't do that because it's not a player. Okay. So what we should probably do then is take this. You know what? Let's do this. Let's cut this. We're going to put that right on the actor itself, because then we can just ignore it if our like monsters don't have anything. We can just ignore it. Okay. stat modifiers dot, it's this way, attack dice. Is it dot value or is it just like attack dice? That's a good question. Because buff manager, like, let's look at buff manager. I just want to make sure I'm calling this right. Buff manager, get stat modifier, stat name, so it's a string. If buff manager has a stat name, and then we call the stat modifiers this way. So if I copy this, if I go back here to actor, if equipped weapon, and then we can add the extra check in here. If equipped weapon dot stat modifiers has stat name, total plus equals equipped weapon, that way. And not total, but this right here. Stat modifiers dot attack dice. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, so this becomes this. This here becomes this. Like that. There we go. Okay. So then we can do the... Yeah, because I think all of my weapons... Because this is the sheet that I'm going to see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Kind of like the sheet I came up with of ideas this morning. Yeah, it's probably... There we go. We'll zoom it in so you can kind of see. So like weapon here for, for the rogue, rusty, called it rusty dagger, +1 attack dice. And we have some modifiers on defense dice for the weapon stuff. Let's just sort by weapons. That's in the combat stuff. That's, yeah. I'm going to probably need the new, if I want to use all of this, I need to probably do another modifier specifically just for the items. Yeah. Okay. But either way, this should work right now, at least for the rogue. So if we have it, if the equipped weapon, if they have an equipped weapon, and if the equipped weapon has attack dice, then we add in the attack dice. So now when the rogue attacks, he should get, he should get 2 attack dice. So let's see here. So we explore. Let's go down here. Let's see if we can get some monsters to show. Oh, actually, can we get monsters to show up? I don't remember. Did we turn them off? I don't remember if we turned off monsters. We'll find out in a second, I guess. I think we may have turned off the monsters. Let's go back and double check. Game board. Entrance 2 is not in our... Okay. Okay, let's save that. Just double check. Entrance 2, we didn't really mess with it, did we? No, it's got that many monsters on it. Okay. And then let's do the exit. Let's make that a little bit less common for right now. Save. Okay. Yep, 5. Okay. Okay, let's go back here. Let's try this and let's see if we can get some monsters to show up and see if we can get our extra attack dice now. Hey, there we go. We got some monsters. Okay, so let's move them up here. Well, we'll let our priest die. We just want to make sure that our rogue gets a chance to attack. So, hey, here we go. Go be a meat shield, wizard. Okay. Why did he choose to attack? Oh, he was trying to go for the priest, not for the wizard. That's why. Okay. Okay. We're up to 8. Okay, perfect. So let's see here. We're gonna attack this guy. Do we get 2? We only got 1. So let's go back here to our game board. Let's look at our rogue. Rogue. Here we go. Rogue, inventory. Not inventory. Equipped. Equipped weapon. Dagger. Oh, right. I know why. Because if we look at our dagger, we called this attack dice. This should be edit string. That should be instead be attack dice, I believe. Right? Oh, you know what? Just delete this. Remove string attack dice. And then here, this will be an int of 1. Okay. Because remember back over here in our script where we did the player. Here we go. We did. Nope, not player, actor. Here we go. Attack underscore dice. And because I did attack instead of attack. Okay, so that's fine there. Make sure I don't have any other warnings. Okay. That should now give me the extra attack dice. Let's find out. End turn. Give me some monsters. Move. Give me some monsters. Hey, we found the exit already. Oops, I didn't mean to end his turn until he got to Explorer tile, but either way. Wow. We're just not going to find any monsters, huh? There we go. Okay. Hey, who knows? Maybe we can get more. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we're almost back up to the rogue's turn. The rogue should now have 2 attack dice. Okay, rogue. Attack. We don't have range set up, so if I do this... Why? Why, Mr. Rogue? Why aren't you... Let's put in a print. Check in equipped weapon. Check in equipped weapon. Yeah, so it's doing that, but it's not... Equip weapon, stat modifiers. So let's go back over here. Actors, rogue. Equipped weapon. Where was it? Equipped weapon. Equipped weapon. Here it is. Stat modifier. It has nothing. Did I mess that up again and forget to? I did. That would probably be why. Attack dice. Int 1. Whoops, 1. There we go. Save. Okay. Let's just make it so it happens faster. Let's go back to game board. Let's go back to our entrance tile. There we go. Okay. I think I just called it entrance 2. That's what I think it was. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, come on, rogue. Okay, rogue. Attack. Let's get 2 dice. Hey, there we go. Oh, that stupid thing. Every single time when you add in the dictionary, you have to hit the add key pair or else it doesn't stay. Okay. Yep. Okay. Let's just see if we can kill most of them here. There we go. Yay, attack and die. Okay. Okay, so we got that. Let's just build like 2 more items, and then unfortunately I'm gonna have to call it for today because I have not prepped my D&D game for this evening yet, so I don't need this one open anymore. Where is the... Okay, so let's go back over here. We have our items. Let's create a new item. Resource, item data, create, and let's see what do we got next. Let's do our crude great axe. Why is this highlighting everything? There we go. Crude great axe. Okay. Save. Okay, and our crude great axe. This is, I don't, you know what? Copy. Paste. You know what? Let's do paste as unique just to be safe. Oh. Sure. Let's just use this. I have to go find some textures. Yep, that works. There we go. That's fine. Consumable. It's not. It's a weapon. I am level 1. Allowed classes. Barbarian. We haven't got the class check in there yet. We will add that in. Let's add in our string here. Where's our string? String. Attack dice. And then let's do integer. And I believe I did 3. What did I do here? 2 attack dice minus 1 defense dice. So 2, add, and then we're going to do a new one. Attack dice, new key and value. This key will be defense dice. New value is -1. Add that in. Okay, there we go. So if we add that in there, okay, so that would be for our barbarian. Barbarian. Where is he? There he is. Barbarian. Okay, so his inventory, equipped weapon, quick load, crude great axe. There we go. So we save that. We go back to actor. We want to use this as well because we're going to change that. So we can say if equipped weapon, and then we're going to change this to defense dice. defense dice. There we go. Okay, so then the barbarian now, he starts out with, what did we give him stats to start with? Where is, here we go, barbarian. His base attack dice are 3. So if we just gave him 2 more, so now he should have a, with the crude axe, he's gonna have 5, but he should only have 1 defense die. Okay, so let's save this. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, so let's just move him out of the way. And they're targeting the wizard, who's got 2 defense dice. That's fine. We'll move him out of the way. Now he's gonna attack. No, attack the barbarian. Or is he attacking the rogue? Rogue. Okay. So now the barbarian, if he attacks to this guy, he will have 5. Yep. Okay. Then I'm just going to let him stand here because I want him to be attacked to make sure he only has 1 defense dice. He's attacking the wizard. Oh, because they're... Why did he turn... Oh. Oh, right. I think the way I have the ranged attack one is it just goes through and finds the first player in range. I don't think it looks at the closest player. Okay, well, let's just move this guy out of the way. So then the melee guy should attack the barbarian. Okay, we'll just end his turn. Boom. Okay, attack the barbarian. Only 1 defense dice. Yay! Okay. So we got that working. Okay. That's great. That is great. So that, the weapon, the wooden mace, I have that as extra. The apprentice one gives them an extra range. Some max HP, stuff like that. What I might do is I might just make a new function, so then it just says, hey, tell me what stat you're looking for, and I'll check the item to see if it has it, versus the way that we're doing it right now with right here, where if it has the stat, then we add this stuff. Because right now it's like, okay, if we have an equipped weapon, do this. If we have an equipped accessory, we're going to do like the same thing. Okay, so we got that. We've got, let's just build out a weapon for each one of the other ones. Let's see here. So that was that. The wooden mace is our intro weapon for the priest. So let's add that one in. So let's go back over here. Items, here we go. Create new resource, item data, wooden mace. Again, this is all just whoops, placeholder stuff right now. I'm going to go through and add, I'm going to try to change the flavor of these weapons to be, the bishop crook, or Ken Evan, you told me exactly what they're called. I'm drawing a blank on their names right now. But like the bishop staff and stuff like that. Okay, so this is going to be the priest. We're going to add an element. It's going to be a priest. Stat modifiers. It's going to be 1 attack dice, 1 defense dice. Okay, so we add string attack dice. And this is going to be an integer 1. We add that. We're going to do defense dice. And that's going to be, whoops, 1 as well. Okay, there we go. So we save that. Go over here to our priest. Or his equipped weapon. It's going to be the wooden mace. Okay, so we save that. And then we need to build the apprentice wand here for the wizard. +1 attack dice for the wizard. Item. Where's our item? Items. Here we go. Boom. Create new resource. My mind just went to, I just need to build another item thing. And then I can, instead of doing it this way, I can have a little item editor. Yeah, we don't have time for that. Let's just keep going. Okay. Paste. Weapon. This is a wizard only. Stat modifiers. What did we say this was? Attack dice +1. String. Int 1. Okay. And then it's also going to do range. Let's call it bonus range. Bonus range. There we go. That's also going to be a 1. Because range is a reserved keyword in Godot. I don't want to just use range, even though it makes sense. But okay, so we save that. We come over here to our wizard. Okay, we go into his equipped weapon. We do a quick load. Do apprentice wand. Okay, save. So now everybody should have new attacks. The item level, I haven't. We'll calculate that after. But now, like, let's see. We already did the rogue, so let's just skip his turn. So now I have +1 attack and I have +1 defense from this. So yep, I get the extra attack dice. That's fine there. Let's end his turn. The wizard, he should have an extra attack die now, so he gets 2 instead of 1. Which, was that true of the wizard to start with? I don't remember. Wizard base stats. I think he only had 1 to start with. Yes, base attack die is 1, so now he's got 2. Okay. Yeah, so that works. We can't do fireball, but we can do, we'll just do 1 more attack. Why not? And we missed. Okay, is he attacking the priest? Yes, and priest got an extra defense die. Yay! Awesome. Okay, so we've got the basics working here. Let's just do, let's kill someone else or attack. Overkill. Oops, attack. I know I do currently have an issue with this overlapping the action bar, but now if we go back to town, we have 63 gold, which I haven't populated up here yet. But then we have all of this. Yay. Okay. Rest. That heals us. Let me just, I want to add that in. That's just going to drive me nuts if I don't add that in. Town. Gold value. Town. So we don't have gold value in there, so let's just add that here. Gold value dot text equals the string of game manager dot gold. There we go. Boom. And eventually I'll replace that with a way to update as we buy stuff, like with the temple and all that fun stuff. So if right now we kill these guys, we should go back and we should have gold. So if we do this, kill everybody, hopefully, well, maybe. Yep. Okay. Yep. That there is a weird bug with that one green guy. Let's see if we can find the exit. I just realized that I stopped. I made the exit appear less because I made it lower weight. And he totally missed. Let's try it one more time. There we go. Now that will kill everybody. There we go. Okay. Move. Let's see if we can find the exit here. Oops. Word of pain. Nope, not word of pain. Nope. There we go. Oh, one guy. Yeah, see, this is where I think the problem lies now is we have that die not happening the way I want it to. But we'll sort it out. Okay, come on. Let's find the exit. I want to make sure the gold's working. Well, that was totally worthless, that fireball. The part that's really strange for me on this is normally when I'm developing games, I want to have sound right off just because I can't stand it being super quiet. So not having the sound right now is really bugging me. But it's on my milestone. I'm gonna add it in. So okay. Come on, find the exit. Exit. Nope. Somebody find the exit. That's right. My rogue's gonna die before we find the exit. Who are we up to? Priest. Oh my god. I may have to increase the frequency at which the end tile appears. Barbarian we're up to. Okay, come on. We can do this. It's all random. It's all random. Maybe weighted draw is not. Oh, yay! We found the exit. Okay, now we just have to get back to the other guy's turn. Oh, and we found some monsters to fight. Okay, now we're back to the wizard. You know what, wizard? Maybe we should make the wizard not be in that square until afterwards. Hey, gold, 238. We got our health. We get everything back in town. If we hit rest, heals everybody up. We hit explore, we go back into the dungeon. We have a loop. We have things working. That's awesome. Oh, excellent. So we get some base items added today. We've got the inventory. We did a little bit of finagling to make that work. So let's go back over, not here. So let's see here. We started building the items. We built the item resource, so we can call that done. Build items. We've got the basic item thing, so I'm just going to put this as done for right now. We got to build out all the actual items. And we got to do the town shop and the range checking and then this status. So let's go back over here. Let's hit stop on this. What are we at? We are at 58 hours, 58.1 hours. Okay. Let's go back over here. Let's look at our plan. And we did not add this yet. This is going to be the big thing. If the player is dead at the end of the run, all equipment on them is lost. So all their inventory, all of their equipped item is going to go away. But we have not done that yet. Item stats. We've done that. We've started to build the items. Inventory. Item changes stats, weapons, and accessories. Yep, we got that. Non-equipable items add actions like a healing potion or a speed potion. I don't know if I'm going to make them add an action. I think it's going to, using them is going to cost an action point. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have an item description. And then it'll say it costs, 1 action point to use. So we'll have to do that. We did build the inventory for the characters. Save low, basic UI. We haven't done any of that stuff yet. So we are very close. We've got the actual loop done, but we haven't filled in the part that makes it worth repeating yet. But we're getting there. So tomorrow, I think what we're going to do tomorrow, we'll build out the items a little bit more. We'll build out the inventory. Do we start on the UI at this point? Because the inventory is kind of hard to deal with. Well, how about this? We build the shop. We'll build the shop and the equip screen in town so that we can start doing that. We can start buying stuff and putting it on our characters. I think this might get punted to the next playtest and feature lock. I think that one's going to get punted down there. Yeah, let's do that right now. Let's punt this down to, let's put this down here, our escalation mechanic. Okay. Excuse me. We'll go back here, home. Where's the thingamabobber? Nope. There we go. Check boxes. There we go. To-dos. There we go. Okay, so we'll punt that one down. This I definitely want to do. Save and load. This one is, we definitely want that. Do I want that in this milestone? That's going to be a good question. We'll do this tomorrow. We'll make sure that we can replace dead characters. We need to make sure our characters die properly. So we'll work on this tomorrow. We'll make our players fall down. They'll be in the down state. And then we can have our healing surges. And if we have enough healing surges, then we can get them back up if like the priest or someone doesn't heal them first. Which means probably our healing potions are probably going to need a target mode. So we'll have to be able to target, which we have the targeting machine for. Yeah. So I think tomorrow what we'll do is we'll finish out this. We'll do the town shop. We'll do the equip for our characters. It'll just be rough cut, no final UI or anything like that. But we'll make that so then we can buy items. We can equip our characters. We'll calculate our item level. And then we'll work on the making sure our players can go down and we can heal them and get them back up. So that's what our feature, not a feature, our focus is going to be for tomorrow. So I think with that, I think, we're in a good spot. We're at 50, what was it, 58 hours right now. 58.1 hours. So again, we're not hitting the feature lock at 60. I was really hoping to, but I'm still, if last week, I believe I'm shooting for about 65 hours. So tomorrow we'll get that stuff done. We'll get, we'll have the loop. So the only thing that's going to be left for us is basically building the UI after tomorrow. And that once we have the UI, a rough UI in place to make it playable, then it's going to be the scary part, putting it out there and letting people play it and give me feedback. There's definitely a lot of stuff. I mean, this is, I almost, is there a word for pre-alpha? Not even remotely like prototype at this point. And it feels still very rough, a lot to do, but we'll get it into players' hands, hopefully in about, let's see, if we're shooting for 65, 7 hours from now, which would be second week of August. 5, another 4. Yeah, we second week of August. Oh boy. um, I'm laughing because that's also the same week I'm shooting to have my next playtest for Castlevania available. So that's going to be an exciting week. I mean, if Aramis can and Thorndy can release 3 games for playtesting at the same time, maybe I can do 2. I doubt it, but we'll see. So that's where we're going to be. Hopefully, um, yeah, hopefully we'll be ready. So look forward to that. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe down below. I'll be streaming again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. UTC, I believe it is. And we'll get the rest of this stuff wrapped up here. And then it'll just be focused on the UI. And again, for the item stuff, I'm just going to quickly share my screen again here. I've got some rough ideas of what I have here. So like I didn't implement any accessories or anything like that, but increase the amount of gold drop, chances to dodge traps. I'm looking at doing stuff that's fairly easy to implement with what we have right now. We have a way to calculate action points. We have a way to calculate HP, all that stuff. We got that implemented. So that stuff should be fairly easy to add in. And then like in their pouch, healing potions, pretty standard, straightforward. Right now, they are, the way I did this was it's only on, only works on the equipped character. I don't know. Could be interesting. Basically even if they're unconscious, they could use possibly a healing potion and get themselves back up. I think I might like that idea. We might give it a try. Just because trying to create a healing potion that targets, well, if we do Alchemist Fire, which I already have, Alchemist Fire and stuff like that, we have, you know, a way to also decrease a monster's. Yeah, we're going to need a targeting system anyway. So I'll think about that. I don't know if I want healing potions to be just on the active player or if we want them to be able to be targeted to down allies. Yeah, but I think we're on track. I mean, by the time, if all goes according to plan, we'll hit our playtest at 65 hours. So 5 hours behind. They'll make up time will be less than 10% out of spec or out of plan, however you want to say it. So I think we're in a good spot. And I look forward to that. And I'll see everybody back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And we'll wrap up the last of this stuff. And then we'll have to, of course, we still have to build out all the items, but we have to go through and figure out what the different mechanics we need. They should be pretty straightforward because we already have the targeting system. We just have to link it in together. Should be pretty easy. Doo, doo, doo. Yeah. Yeah. I think we can do it. I think we can hit a play test at hour 65. I am feeling very confident in that. So we'll see you back tomorrow morning, and have a good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are. And I'll see you back tomorrow.